Hey everybody, Rich here from HFX Gaming Memories, and welcome back to another episode of Cocktails and Game Pairing. Well, summer is underway. It is June and the sun is out, and I've been making this new cocktail and really enjoying it, so I thought, let's put it on the channel. Coincidentally, by the time I got around to this, it's Pride Month, so we're actually going to be doing a rainbow cocktail. So you can enjoy it with video games or at your Pride festivities. First thing, you're going to get a tall glass. Doesn't really matter what type. I was actually using a beer glass the first time I did it, but I picked up these Caesar cocktail glasses this week, and I thought I'm going to try it in this, see how it turns out. First thing we're going to do is a little bit of grenadine, and we're just going to pour that right to the bottom of the glass because we're layering it like a rainbow. It should be enough. Now, the next step is really important. First time I tried this, forgot my ice, made an absolute disaster. So you're going to actually fill this right to the top. And this is going to actually act as a filter so that we can layer our second layer in there. Ice is all stuck together. Now we'll put that in our martini shaker for now. Get it as close to the top as you can. Perfect. Now we're going to add our alcohol. Here you have a few variations you can do. You actually don't need to use alcohol. You could just use an orange or pineapple juice. For me, I'm actually going to use pineapple juice. We're going to add that with some coconut rum. So usually ounce and a half. I'm just going to eyeball things for today because I've never used this glass. I want to make sure that we fill it all the way to the top. If you don't like coconut, you don't like pineapple, you can also just use something like vodka and orange juice. It's really the color that we're going for today. So let's put in our juice. There, that's mixed into a nice color. And even if you don't use everything that's in the shaker, you could just drink this as a screwdriver. Yeah, that should do it. And now what we're just going to do is slowly pour over top of our ice. And you can see how that's actually just starting to make a nice little, I guess, orangey yellow layer, while the red stays at the bottom. Now here, if you want to add another layer of color, what you're actually going to do is take your spoon, and you're going to gently go down to the bottom, and just pull up a little bit. And what that's going to do is mix some of the grenadine in with the pineapple, and it's going to create sort of an orange. A little harder to do with the curve in this glass than the previous beer glasses I did, but it still looks good. You can see that the color is starting to meld a bit. Now, for the top of our rainbow. We're going to go with some blue curacao. And to layer, we're going to need our drink spoon, and we're just going to put it right over the top layer of juice and pour slowly down the back of the spoon. Hands are all wet and full of ice right now, so I'm trying not to drop things. You can see a nice slow pour, and that makes sure that the blue stays on the top. You can move your spoon side to side a little bit. And there we have our rainbow cocktail. Just looking at our secondary camera, I think this is the nicest one I've made yet. Now we have to decorate it up, of course. We're going to go with our lemon wedge. You could use lime, you could use pineapple, whatever you like. I think because this is a rainbow beach kind of drink, we really need to have the parasol umbrella. And of course, for fun, Twizzly straw. And just like that, your guests are going to love it. Same thing, if you want to make this non-alcoholic, you can just use some blue Kool-Aid. There is a way to make a blue sugar online, but I'm not sure what's included in it, but take a look. I'm going to enjoy this and start talking about our next video game. Well, Rainbow, I think it's safe to say we've already got our game. We're going with Rainbow Islands, the story of Bubble Bobble Part 2. So stay tuned as we talk about that. Although I never really understood its connection to Bubble Bobble. Well, turns out, Bubble Bobble has a good and bad ending depending on how you play. In fact, you have to play 2 players, and I believe you have to beat it in a certain amount of time. If you get the good ending, the dragon characters from that game turn human, which are who you play as in this game, Bubby and Bobby. So there's your connection. The only connection I could make as a kid is when you kill enemies, you can see that they actually turn into the enemies from Bubble Bobble. So there's your story for the day. The game seems pretty simplistic when I played it as a kid. All I did was just shoot rainbows, kill enemies, try to defeat the boss, and maybe if I was lucky enough to get to World 2 out of the 7 possibilities. So we ended up playing a lot of the first 3 levels over and over again, but it was still a fun game. So what's the game about? Well, it turns out that all the denizens of the islands have been turned into these monsters, and it's up for you to defeat the shadow boss and turn them all back into human. Pretty simplistic kid stuff, but let me tell you, the game is not as simplistic on the surface as it seems. To start out, you have a single rainbow. There's plenty of upgrades in this game. In fact, there's so many items to pick up, I was confused about exactly what item did what and what I'm supposed to do. So what I did was actually go online and read the big list. For the most part, the ones that you really want to focus on are getting the double rainbows because you're going to need that extra ammo, especially for the climbing that comes later in the game. You want to be able to get the jar that actually increases the speed that you shoot the rainbows, and the shoe. Those are the main ones. There's some other items along the way that are helpful, such as the bubble shield. You can also pick up this item that shoots down lightning and kills all the enemies on the screen. A lot of the other stuff is just for generic points. Where the thing you need to pick up most is the diamonds. Now, I was aware that you're supposed to try to actually spell the word rainbow. I didn't understand why you were doing that. Well, it turns out that there are 7 worlds in the game, but you actually have to find the big diamond in every world to unlock level 8 to get the true ending of this game. I wasn't aware of that until halfway through my playthrough of this game. So, should be simple enough. I mean, the diamonds will appear, right? They're not going to make it any more hard, are they? Yeah, they are. It's not just a matter of killing enemies and getting diamonds, but specific colored diamonds give you a specific letter in the word rainbow. Now, on the screen, there are invisible lines that you can't see, and in order to actually get a specific letter / diamond, you need to drop a rainbow down on the enemy within that invisible line going left to right. Here's a picture of what diamonds correspond with what color. I don't know exactly where the cutoff is, where one letter changes to the other, but you'll have to experiment with that. In the arcade, if you actually spell it rainbow going left to right, you actually get another bonus stage that's not in the Nintendo, thankfully, because this was already complicated enough. As the levels progress in this game, they get very difficult. There's actually a lot less platforms, so you really need to get good with shooting these rainbows and running up, dodging enemies, dodging what they're shooting at you. You can jump on the rainbows by holding A, but I find once I start jumping, that's it. I'm going to end up breaking them and falling all the way down to the bottom of the level and having to start again. There's also a time limit, so if you screw around way too much, the water will actually start to rise, and that makes it really difficult. As I said, there's a good and bad ending to this game. If you collect all of the big diamonds, you get to go on and fight some of the bosses from Bubble Bobble. At the end of this, you've collected all the diamonds, you get the Star Rod, and you get to grant yourself a wish. You can either get a cute girlfriend, friendship, or be famous. So there's 3 separate endings, each with their own intermission afterwards. I, however, did not collect all the diamonds, so I had to go back and try to play the levels again. If you do beat the game, they give you a cheat code so you can actually level select, so you can jump around a little bit. That being said, I wouldn't play this game with the intention of necessarily going in just to beat it, get the true ending. It's a really fun game. Take your time, enjoy yourself a nice cocktail, sit back and enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed our video. Make sure you subscribe, follow, put anything you want in the comments. I want to hear from you. Give me some feedback on the videos if you have a cocktail or a game you want reviewed. I'm actually going to be jumping onto TikTok at some point here where I'm just going to do a quick how to make the cocktail and link it to our YouTube, so I will be posting about that as well. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at HFX Gaming Memory. Until then, drink and game responsibly. We'll see you next time.